Every year, on the same unmarked day in November, a stranger paid off one random family's layaway order at Ferris Sons Department Store. Nobody knew who, nobody knew why November. The staff called it Ghost Day, half joking, though after 11 years, nobody was really joking anymore. It started in 2013, the year the store nearly closed for good. Ferris & Sons had been a fixture on Main Street for 3 generations, the kind of place where 3 generations of the same families bought their kids' first winter coats, their wedding registry gifts, their back-to-school shoes, until the big box stores 15 minutes away made local start to feel like a luxury nobody could afford anymore. That November, an envelope arrived at the customer service counter with no return address, addressed simply to the manager. Inside was a cashier's check for $4,200 and a single typed note. Please use this to pay off every layaway balance under Robertson, Diane. No further explanation needed. Please don't try to find out who sent this. The store manager, a woman named Sylvia who'd worked there for 19 years, recognized the name immediately. Diane Robertson, a single mother of 3 who'd been slowly paying down a layaway order of winter coats and boots for her kids since September, a little each week, the way half the store's remaining customers managed to afford anything at all. Sylvia called Diane in, confused and cautious, half expecting some kind of scam. When she explained the balance was paid in full anonymously, Diane sat down right there in the aisle and cried for a solid 10 minutes, unable to form a coherent sentence beyond asking over and over, who would do this? Nobody had an answer. The check had cleared. The bank couldn't legally disclose who'd purchased it. The mystery simply existed, unresolved, the way small-town mysteries sometimes just do. The following November, it happened again, a different family, a different amount, the same typed note, the same instruction not to investigate. And the November after that. Every single year, like clockwork, always in November, always paying off exactly one family's outstanding layaway balance in full. By the 3rd year, the local paper ran a small story about it. By the 5th year, it had become something the whole town watched for, an unofficial tradition, families half hoping every November that this might be their year, though nobody ever knew the criteria for how a family got chosen. Sylvia kept every note in a locked drawer in her office, 11 of them by year 11, all typed on the same kind of paper, all with the same simple, unembellished handwriting on the envelope, never signed, never explained. It was her assistant manager, a young man named Marcus who'd started working there fresh out of high school, who finally noticed the pattern nobody else had, not in the amounts, not in the families chosen, but in the timing. It's always the week of the 14th, he said one afternoon, spreading 11 envelopes across Sylvia's desk, dates lined up in a row, not just November. The exact same week, every single year, within a day or 2 of each other. Sylvia hadn't noticed. 11 years of the mystery, and she'd never once thought to check the specific dates against each other. What happens the week of the 14th? Marcus asked. Neither of them had an answer. But once the pattern was noticed, Sylvia couldn't stop thinking about it, turning it over during slow afternoons at the register, wondering what anniversary, what private significance, could possibly connect to a random department store's layaway program. It was old Mr. Ferris himself, technically retired but still coming in most days out of habit, the last living member of the family whose name was still on the building, who finally gave her the piece she was missing, though he didn't realize it at the time. The 14th, he said, when she mentioned the pattern over coffee in the back office. That was the day we almost closed the doors for good, back in 2013. Board meeting, 2nd week of November. I remember it exactly because it was the same week my grandson was born, which felt like a strange thing to be losing the family business over, right when there was a new one to think about. Sylvia felt something click into place, though she couldn't yet say what. The store almost closed that week, she repeated slowly. Would have, if we hadn't gotten that surprise order, Mr. Ferris said. An anonymous customer bought out nearly our entire remaining winter stock in one purchase right before we would have had to shut down, kept the lights on just long enough to make it to spring when things started turning around a little. Sylvia sat with that for a long moment. You never told anyone that. Wasn't anyone's business, Mr. Ferris said with a shrug. Man asked for it to stay quiet, paid in cash, no name on the receipt, just said he'd shopped there as a kid and hated to see it go. It took Sylvia another year to fully connect the pieces. pulling old purchase records from 2013, cross-referencing the exact date of that anonymous bulk order against the exact date the first layaway note had arrived. Both had happened the same week. Both, she now suspected, from the same person. She never confirmed it directly. The following November, the 12th envelope arrived exactly as expected, same typed note, same instruction not to investigate. But this time, Sylvia included something in her thank you response, a brief note left at the customer service counter, on the off chance whoever it was ever came in personally to check on the outcome the way she'd started to suspect they occasionally did. Whoever you are, thank you for saving this store in 2013 and for everything since. We don't need to know your name to know you. We just wanted you to know that we know. Nobody claimed the note. But the following spring, a small, anonymous donation arrived specifically earmarked for the store's employee holiday fund, with a note that simply read, "Some things are better left as they are." But it meant something, being seen. Sylvia never did learn the person's name, not officially, not with certainty. She had her private suspicions, an older man who came in every few months, always alone, always browsing the same section of winter coats without ever buying anything, always leaving right around closing time without saying much beyond a polite nod. She never asked him directly. Some mysteries, she'd decided, weren't really meant to be solved. They were meant to be received, quietly, the way a stranger's kindness usually asks to be, without a name attached, without an explanation required, just landing, every November, on whichever family needed it most that year.